Stellar performance versus Northwestern in that Big Ten Championship game.
Appreciate it, Don. Thank you.
5 tackles, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, and you were also named the defensive player of the game, man. How did that feel?
I see you
It was
dancing
good,
up
man.
there.
I
Wait,
mean-
hold on. What you did?
I'm saying, read my stats, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jefe Sports Podcast, the show that gives you an insider listen into what's going on in the world of sports. Today, we got a very special guest joining me. He is the Ohio State captain, Mr. J. Hill himself, Justin Hilliard. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, brother. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you back here, man. Started off in the beginning before all this COVID stuff happened, and here we are again, man. Did you ever think that your season would end up a 6-0 season?
That's so funny you said that. I was really just having a conversation with a teammate of mine. It was like, if you think back to where we were 2 months ago, 3 months ago, it was like we were happy to just have a season. Like last time I talked to you, I was like, there might not be a season, and then literally a week later that changed. And it's funny how fast things can change, but it's been it's probably one of the craziest seasons, but I would say probably the most fulfilling so far for sure.
Yeah, man, and let's get right into it, man. You've been tearing it up, man. I'm so glad to see it. And I want to congratulate you on that stellar performance versus Northwestern in that Big Ten Championship game.
Appreciate it, Don. Thank you.
5 tackles, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, and you were also named the defensive player of the game, man. How did that feel?
I see
It
you
was
dancing
good,
up
man.
there.
I
Wait,
mean-
hold on. What you did?
I'm saying, read my stats, dude. Nah, it was good. A lot of people asked me how it felt, and it was like we trained to have that type of performance. So I mean, a lot of those plays we practiced. A lot of those situations we were in, like we practiced. So I mean, when those plays happen, like I expect myself to make a lot of those plays, but I was happy a lot of those plays came my way, and I was able to make them, man. Yeah, you know how it is. Like every single week, your coaches give you a game plan on different plays, problem plays. Like Northwestern was giving us Wildcat, and we were exactly ready for that. We were ready for all the reverses. We were ready for probably them trying to get they had a pretty good tight end. Them trying to get their tight end one-on-one on the linebackers, and I mean all those plays we were ready for, man. I was just felt blessed to be in that position to make those plays, brother.
Yeah, and let's get into that a little bit. So, a lot of people don't really know about everything that goes on behind the scenes in game week, all the film, all the preparation, packets and packets of material on their run schemes and pass plays. Justin, tell me a little bit about what the preparation was like for that game.
Oh, it was huge just because we knew how big of a game that was. We have a saying at Ohio State. It's called like get to Indy, because we know if we get to Indy, then we're pretty much set from there. And we know if we win that game, we're most likely going to get in the college football playoff. And so that whole week was, I feel like the coaches were actually preparing for that game a little bit before just that week, just because we knew how big of a game that would be. And so, I mean, it's funny, like it's a little different now with COVID. We're having a little online meeting sometimes. We're having kind of not cut down practices, but practices look a little different than it usually would be. But I mean, they gave that offense is a good offense with Peyton Ramsey, their running back from LaSalle. I mean, all great players. Like we knew exactly who they're trying to get the ball to, and all week we're hammering that to our heads.
Yeah, man. And those two couple names that you just named there, a bunch of Cincinnati guys, man. What was it like
GCL,
playing?
baby.
Yeah, like the GCL was dominating this game. Like it's so crazy to see that, especially from like a retired GCL guy. But like, man, what was it like playing against Peyton again? Because you guys had a history in high school, and this was really the finale of this series between you guys.
Yeah, he's a great player, dude. I remember in high school, I don't know if you remember this game. I think it was my senior year when we played Elder, and he went crazy that game. He had like 150 yards rushing, like 3 passing touchdowns. So just to get that chance to play him again was a little special for me, especially. But I mean, he's a baller, dude. I mean, he can run the ball, he could throw the ball. The running back, what's his last name? Porter. He's a guy who stepped up like 3 weeks ago. We really didn't even know who he was, and then one of my coach actually told me he's a GCL guy. So I was like, all right, automatic respect. And I got to film. I'm like, man, this kid can play. This kid runs hard, and those two were pretty much their top players. And it was cool to see, just GCL guys stepping up. So you always had that connection,
Yeah, man. Yeah. So take me through that interception, man. That was a beautiful play.
Yeah, that play, like I told you before, when coaches try to give us different looks in practice, and that was one of them. We knew that they had a really good tight end, so they were probably trying to get him in space and on one-on-one on the linebackers. And it was funny on that play. Like, as soon as I saw it, I was looking around like trying to find a tight end, trying to find out tight end because we were in man coverage that play, obviously. But then I find him out all the way by the sideline. And once I get to the sideline, there's sidelines like he's like, let's go. He's like route him up or whatever his last name was. So I knew, like, soon as I heard that, I knew I was on an island. So I was locked in, man. I knew it was either going to be a couple of routes, and soon as I saw it, I was ready.
Good shit, man. Good shit. But Justin, I gotta give it to you, man. You had a great interception, but after the play, I was looking for some dance or something. I saw you little turned your head to the side once Peyton turned by. You say something to him?
I'm not gonna say what I said to him, but soon as I caught that ball, I made a direct chorus to Peyton. Say a little something, a little GCL connection. Gotta say something.
Got you, man.
I didn't think anyone noticed that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. I was looking at Jefe's watching. I was looking at that film. I saw that.
But Justin, man, so huge game last week. What's the momentum like around the program with this game coming up versus Clemson?
I would say it is momentum, but I mean, man, we're so used to just playing games, winning games, and then automatically celebrate that win that night, and then automatically the next day, focusing on the next target. And I mean, soon as that night was over, we were focused on first finding out who we're about to play, because I hate that night, by the way. The 12 o'clock CFP selection show after the last game, trying to find out who it is, because usually the last 4 years, I mean, we've been either that kind of on the hinge at 3-4 seed, so even that was kind of like nerve wracking to see who where we're about to be placed. So I mean, soon as we got that 3 seed, found out we were playing Clemson, it was almost euphoric, because I mean, that's just to think about the season we had. I mean, the last time I talked to you, like I said, like, we didn't even know we were going to have a season, and now we're focusing on playing for a national championship.
Yeah, man. It's really coming full circle from last year all the way to this year, man. Does that game from last year still ring in the minds of all you guys?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, we have, as you know, probably we have a pretty much older team, and a lot of the guys that were on that team last year are a lot of the leaders on this team this year. So I mean, that's obviously been something that's constantly in our heads this week, and we know how big of a game it is, and obviously we still have that taste in our mouths from last year's game, because that was probably one of the hardest games I've ever been a part of. A game where you feel like guys played hard enough, prepared hard enough to win a game, but some things just didn't align. And yeah, at the end of the day, they were a better team that day. But yeah, that's for sure right in front of our heads.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Clemson sideline a bit. We got a guy that we recognize over there, Mr. Matt Bockhorst, the left guard. What's it gonna be like going against a former teammate and now turned rival?
That's my guy, man. Bach, that's my guy. I remember back my senior year when he was in your class, right?
Yep.
When he was a sophomore, man, that man he was probably one of the craziest young guys I ever played with, just because he loved to hit. And just watching film now, I still see he has that in him. That man just seeks contact, and I love that about him. So I've never played against him in my life, and this is going to be a fun matchup, dude.
Yeah, man, you're gonna be right up against him, man. He's always climbing to the linebacker on those little combo blocks and stuff like that. So, man, once the heads collide, man, I cannot wait to see that. Oh my God, that's gonna be great, man.
Yeah, I'm hype as hell.
So, Justin, huge game coming up this weekend. What are the 3 keys to victory for the Ohio State Buckeyes?
3 keys to victory. Let me think. Well, Coach Combs is one of the most influential coaches I've ever had. He's a fiery guy, and he always says something like, the team that hits the hardest and plays the fastest wins. So I think automatically the first 2. I think a lot of these times in big games like this, even I think anyone that watches, you can see what team has juice, what team is playing with aggression, what team's looking to seek contact, and that's usually the team that ends up on top, the team that plays the hardest. So I mean, I would say just the foremost point of this week is getting guys to play hard every single snap, getting guys trying to hit people, seeking contact. And I would say the last thing is focus and discipline. It's going to be a battle. So I mean, things might go their way, and when things go that way, I mean, it's got to be just guys calming down and getting back to what we can do.
Yeah, man. I think that's a perfect segue into a new segment on my show, Stay Wavy, where we sit down and we talk about a specific moment in your life where, you know, things seem to be coming down on you. You don't know where to turn. You don't know what you're going to do, but somehow, some way, you stay calm, you stay cool, you stay collected, and you stay wavy. I think a perfect example of this was when you guys were playing with Northwestern and going into halftime, it seemed like Northwestern had all the momentum. They were up and you guys looked totally deflated. What was it? Like, was it somebody that said something, or what happened that made you guys stay calm, stay cool, stay wavy, and finish out the game?
Yeah, that's a perfect segment, I guess, talking about that kind of halftime approach. Yeah, at that time going into halftime, there was obviously like a knot in everyone's gut. Like this wasn't what we expected. Obviously, we expected to start off fast. We expect that every week, but going into halftime, obviously we didn't get what we wanted in that first half. And I think the biggest thing is so funny sometimes, like when things, at least this year, I think the defense does such a great job of just, I would say, just staying calm. Because a lot of times when things aren't going right, you hear in the stands like some fan, especially this year, because you could hear everything on the field. And so sometimes you could hear like fans going crazy, and I'm sure on every type of social media, even the commentators are probably going crazy or like panicking. Like this defense has to figure it out right now. Like what's going on? But at the same time, it's like, I think the biggest key, how we came back hard in the second half was that we kind of just stayed calm. We were just trying to figure things out because they were giving us different looks that we haven't seen. We know at Ohio State, we're going to get different looks that people are going to run different formations, different plays that they haven't run all year against us. And I think the biggest thing about that was just staying calm and trying to fix the things that were going wrong for us and the different things that they were giving us. And I would say the biggest thing was, a lot of words were flying around. Obviously, guys were hyping the locker room. But I would say the biggest thing, how we were able to come back hard in the second half, was just guys were staying calm and staying focused. Because I think a lot of times people expect, like, if you go into halftime and things aren't going your way, you expect chaos, like chaos in the locker room, like guys going crazy, guys yelling and everything like that. But I think it's more important for guys just to stay calm and stay focused, because when you do all that, a lot of times that can lead to people losing focus and things like that. So I think the biggest thing, perfect for this segment, was guys just focusing on what they had to do and doing that.
Yeah, and I think it really helped you guys, where we talked about earlier, the maturity came into play. You guys have people that have been in situations where not everything is going right, and it takes some patient leadership, some guys just calming everybody down, calming the young guys down, and really focusing on what you guys have to do. And yeah, I think that was perfect for what you guys were getting done.
A lot of times, I think when I was a younger guy, we played some crazy games, like the Penn State game, the Michigan State game, I think 3 or 4 years ago. And I think as a young guy, the best feeling was when you looked at your leaders and your leaders weren't, complaining or different things like that, or screaming, or, like kind of showing signs that the other team's in their head. And I think the leadership when I was young, it was always like the older guys were the guys just, bringing, calmness to the locker room and getting guys focused. And I think that's something we've done a great job this year of.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you guys really have. So, Justin, before I let you go, man, you've had a very successful career so far. Is there anybody that you want to give your flowers to?
It's so many people, man. I would say first, we had our senior tackle, I think 2 weeks ago from today. And his senior tackle is basically where all the seniors get up and, say thank you to everyone and give a message to some of the younger guys. And the first people I thanked was my parents. And I think, I've had a pretty good career here at Ohio State, but obviously wasn't the plan when I first got here. I didn't expect to be here 6 years later, but looking back on it right now, I would say I'm blessed. I'm still here, and a lot of the reasons I'm still playing after all those injuries and, things that haven't gone my way in the past. I would say was my parents, because they always pushed me through those times, man. It was a lot of those times as a freshman, it's like you don't want to talk to, things you're going with on the field to other guys. And I wouldn't say in the locker room, but I would say it's so key to have your support system outside of, the program or football. And my parents were always there for me, my brother especially too. And I have a really solid group of friends that pushed me through that. Some great teammates, great athletic trainers that helped me get through a lot of those injuries at those times. And I would say so many people, man, but I would say foremost, my parents for sure.
Yeah, man, that's great. That's so great to have that system around you, man. That means everything,
Yeah, it's key.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar situation where I have such a strong support group around me. My parents, both of them, my sister, it's my rock. My whole family is just my rock. And it's just something great to have behind you to help you grow and to just take on anything in life. Like, it's really crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny when as growing up, it's like, I would say when we're in high school, it's like you took that stuff for granted, almost like got aggravated. So at least me, I got aggravated sometimes when my parents stayed on me. And, looking back on it, it's something I took for granted because, getting older, going to college, you start seeing that everybody doesn't have that support system. And yeah, I know anyone out there that has a great support system, like, be grateful, because not everyone has that. Like, you're a minority for sure.
Yeah, man, it's a blessing. Like, it's really a blessing from God, man. Well, Justin, thank you so much for coming on, man. Great game, and best of luck to you versus those Clemson Tigers.